Good evening, everyone. MaaziEzeoke here. Um, it's been a while for a couple of days now. We haven't really had conversation. Now, this evening, I am going to have a conversation with us, and we will have the opportunity to eventually also speak to the issue today. Today, we will be looking at a couple of issues that Sheikh Gumi, the man you people know very well, the mouthpiece of the bandits, somewhat because the bandit has been declared terrorist in Nigeria. Suddenly, he now denounces the bandits. Having said that, we will also look at why Nigeria was red listed in the United Kingdom, that people in the United Kingdom can no longer fly into Nigeria and what that means. When we speak about that, we will then open the telephone line for many of you to join and say your opinion. What do you think? Are you planning, are you in the diaspora? Are you planning to come home for Christmas? Is your homecoming actually dependent on if your nation would allow you to come in? Or do you think the issue of blacklist is something that has nothing to do with COVID? As one of the United Nations persons said, that what he thinks is happening is vaccine appetite, and that it is not necessary to actually have Nigeria and other African nations blacklisted. Now, before we do that, if I may know where you are watching me from, as usual, please comment in the comment section. Let me know where you are watching me from. I know some of you are watching me from the diaspora. I know some of you are also watching me from the ground zero, irrespective of where you're watching. May I know where you are watching? Without further ado, let's kick off with the conversation with Gumi. As I said, Gumi, or let me give us a little background. Obviously, about 2 weeks ago, the bandits in Nigeria were proscribed. Now, bandits are now classified as terrorists or terrorism. Now, I think one thing we also need to do is, I think, if you ask me, I think kidnapping should also be classified as terrorism as well, by the virtue of the definition of what terrorism is. I think kidnapping someone against his or her will, and abducting an individual, that should also be classified as terrorism. I do have here Dele Amedu. Dele is watching from Montana. You are welcome, Montana, USA. Dele, you are welcome to this conversation this evening. Many of you watching from various places. Like I said before, it will be nice to know where you are watching me from. Then, as well, we will eventually get to the point where you will have your say by calling into the studio and have your opinion heard. Now, let's get the ball rolling.
Well, let's begin what's trending. Controversial Islamic cleric Sheikh Ahmad Gumi on Wednesday denounced his advocacy for bandits following their declaration as terrorists by the Federal High Court in Abuja. The cleric, who has been urging the federal government to grant bandits a general amnesty, as it was done to the militants in the Niger Delta, said his efforts were for the sake of peace and economic prosperity of Nigeria. But the campaign was sabotage. The cleric further stated that it was dangerous for him to continue to engage with the bandits now that they have been declared terrorists. The bandits have been viciously kidnapping and killing their captives across Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna, Benue, and Sokoto states.
Now, you hear these states where these bandits do these things, and it hurts because when they do these things, they actually, these are innocent citizens like you and I, people who have done nothing wrong, and the only crime they have committed in this Mother Earth is that they are Nigerians. That's all. That's their crime. And these people are kidnapped at will. There is a video. I cannot play this video here. If not, YouTube will blacklist me. If not, man, if you watch this video, you will cry. about 40 of your countrymen and women were roasted alive in Sokoto. They held their bus, the bus they were traveling with. No one could come for rescue. They just put fire in that bus. People were burning, shouting, if you come out, they will shoot you. And people burned. And now these people were being buried. Now, and you had a president. You have a president who is also from the North Central. Imagine that, for instance, because sometimes, from the Northwest. Imagine that, people. When we say these things, it look abstract. Imagine that you have a president from the Southwest. Imagine that Osibanjo is the president, and something like this happens in Ogun or Oshun or who cares, one of the southern South or Ekiti. And Osibanjo would not go where 40 Yorubas were roasted alive. Let's not, you see, I'm not saying 40 Nigerians now. I'm not saying 40 Nigerians because I'm coming to that. Let's actually bring it down to the minutest level where the president comes from. That a thing like that does not worry him, that 40 people from those he governs were roasted by bandits. And what did he do? He jets off into Lagos to commission boats and to do a book launch, which I believe he did not read because the content of that book was actually damning. The book revealed that Yoruba elders and Northern elders warned APC not to field and not to allow Muhammadu Buhari to become the president. And when you hear these things that they say, and when you hear these things that they said, you now wonder, why would everybody be now hating Ndibo for doing not only that people said this thing, but by that they also acted it out? Yes, the people of Anambra State, yes, in 2015, gave him 5%, and he got mad. Anambra is different. He got mad and he thought, 5% against 75%. Come 2015, 2019 again, election, other states in the Southeast already gave him more. I think Ebonyi gave him 25, Abia 19, Imo, I think 17. My people, do you know what Anambra did in 2019? They gave the president another 5%. What it means, but this is a serious matter. In all this, those who gave the president 95%, 97%, no, okay, in his words, because this is mathematically incorrect. I'm not saying that the president is Olodo. I'm not saying, but what I'm saying is that it is mathematically incorrect to say 97% and 5%. That makes it 102%. But coming to the back to the issue, the president failed those that elected him. If it was in Anambra that something like that happened, and nobody would have expected president to come, because he has a grudge against the people of the Southeast. But this is a people that voted for him, that he brags about it, that they gave him 97%. That is the people of Sokoto. They were roasted like chicken. If you see the video, it's one of the most heart-wrenching video you would ever see. But the man whom they voted for, what did he do? He went to Lagos to commission boats and to go for book launch. Now, the same people that do this are the bandits. You remember, we had the bandit spokesperson in the person of former military officer Sheikh, who eventually is a Sheikh. He took over his father, fathers, whatever they call them. Now he's a Sheikh. I call him the bandit Sheikh, who has argued that the bandits are those who are hungry, that they need help, they do this, they do the other one, yet he is the only one that knows where the bandits are, can go see the bandits, but when the helicopters cannot see the bandits, Sheikh Gumi can see the bandits. Eventually, the bandits are now classified as terrorists, and Sheikh Gumi is now trying to take cover.
On Monday, 23 travelers were burnt to death in a bus attack in Sokoto State by this terrorist. Well, I guess Sheikh Ahmad Gumi can now be granted amnesty because I'm sure a lot of Nigeria will disagree with him. I don't think that he was trying to get peace. I think he was fueling these terrorists, and his intervention has been nothing but inflammatory. But I wanted to talk about the attack that happened on Monday. It was so sad. Yesterday, there were more revelations about the people that were involved in that bus attack. One of them was a pregnant woman.
Oh dear, don't even go there, lady. That was one of the most horrific things that any human being on earth could actually watch. How human beings, we are being roasted alive, and their bodies, their brains, everything, we are popping. And those who were roasting them, we are videoing, standing there. If you come along, if you stop or anything, you are dead. And we call ourselves a nation. And there is no, one thing, let's assume that crime can happen anywhere. But one thing that hurts me with this government is the lack of empathy. Lack of empathy. Empathize with the people. Imagine now, you're watching me from America, and 10 people dies in such horrific way in America. And you think your president, Biden, will go somewhere, for such nonsense, book lunch. You think your president will do it? In the United Kingdom, as we speak, people are demanding that Boris Johnson resigns. Why? Because he went for a Christmas do. What's a Christmas do? A Christmas party. Because they said the corona cases is rising in the United Kingdom, and he found time to go for a party. That he wasn't self-isolating and all the rest. Because I think one of his cabinet member or whatever tested positive. You saw the beautiful 36 years president of Finland apologize that she went partying. But here, those that govern you will shit on your head. Shit, they will just go to they will put the toilet high and open the whole pipe on our head and do nothing. They have no apology. Your life means nothing. If not, why would 40 people die in Sokoto and someone goes to Lagos to launch a freaking book? Okay, on your way back, you could have gone to Sokoto and heaven would not fall. Why are you doing this? I'm not complaining for myself because obviously I am a proud 5%er. I am a dotted person. Don't bloody care. But those that voted for you, what happens? Why can't you show them some love? Do not show me. I'm not in the business of showing love. Don't show me. Just do your freaking job. But here we are, a president who could not. Empathy. May we never have any other person govern this country without empathy, because that's honestly, it's mind-boggling. It's sickness. It's sickening. Where you should make emphatic statement, where you should make statement by your body language, by everything in you. No, we fail to do that. But again, let's allow the Arise team to talk about the dead.
And she actually gave birth and was burned. It was so sad, so difficult for me to bear, really.
To be honest with you, Oji, you're not going to be surprised. I've taken to skipping some stories.
Yeah.
I have to protect my mental health. It gets too much. We sit here day in, day out, talking about crimes of immeasurable monstrosity. So lately, I try to avoid them. And it just shows exactly why so many people were offended and they were outraged by Sheikh Gumi's intervention.
Yes.
He gave a literal meaning to devil's advocate.
Correct.
It's one thing to talk about how the Nigerian state has failed us all. So many public figures do, from Professor Tomari to Sheikh Gumi, about how the Nigerian state fails its citizens and make them, resort to all kinds of things. It's quite another to then demonize the victims and sort of present some kind of hagiography of deranged criminals who burn people alive. This is just the latest in a litany of horrendous crimes that they have committed. So I'm really glad that he has seen the error of his ways and has decided to stop his completely wrong-headed advocacy. But I regret the fact on his behalf that he stopped short of apologizing to Nigeria.
Absolutely.
For ever taking the side of people who are unleashing this manner of terror on the rest of us.
Hey, stop. It's not about taking the side of those unleashing. If Nigeria were to be a state, if Nigeria were to be a state where rule of law, where people, where lives were valued, by now, we should be talking about Sheikh Gumi, take us to where you were negotiating with them, where you were talking with them. Sheikh Gumi, you should be leading the way, and we will be coming with our AK, armor tank, and all the rest. It is the duty of the Nigerian army to send them to their maker. When they get there, let them have their 7, whatever virgins they want to have, let them have it. But the duty of the Nigerian army is to ensure that they meet their maker very, 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 very quickly. It's as simple as that. There is no two ways about that. But here we are. I tell you, I'm sorry, if you want, you can bet me. I tell you, this is the end of the story. Sheikh Gumi says, okay, I'm no longer part of the what's it called? I'm no longer part of the bandit. Kaganini, no bandit, bandit ni yamotu. We finish. That's it. And everybody goes home. At least nothing happened. Sometimes, honestly, I want to come online sometimes and I think, listen, I also need to protect my mental health because you can't be talking about Nigeria and be normal. Honestly, can't be talking. Nigeria makes you sick every single day. You just cannot be normal.
He owes us an apology, quite frankly.
I agree with you, Tunde. Dr.
No,
Martin.
I do not think that the issue is about an apology. If you are waiting for an apology, you will not get it.
I'm not waiting
The
for an apology.
position that Sheikh Gumi has taken is even in itself a critique of the Nigerian state and the response of the Nigerian state to his various recommendations in the past. One, he had taken it upon himself to engage with these bandits. He visited many camps, some of those camps, the main hideouts of bandits and terrorists in Nigeria. And on the basis of his interaction, and he had a team of persons, who went around with him, including our good friend, Professor Usman Yusuf. He gave feedback to the Nigerian authorities that these bandits are bandits or terrorists or whatever you call them because of their anger against the Nigerian state, because they feel they've been deprived, because they think the Nigerian state has not been fair to them. And his consistent recommendation was that the Nigerian authorities should engage with them. He likened them, those bandits that he engaged with, to Niger Delta militants, and he asked for amnesty for them. On all of these scores, many Nigerians disagreed with him because they thought that he was comparing apples and oranges.
Yes.
And of course, somewhere down the line, there was also some indication that the Nigerian government had invited him for questioning, but he denied that. It did not happen. On many occasions, we had said perhaps the Nigerian government should engage him, listen to him, if there's anything useful in whatever he was saying. Now, the position of the Nigerian, a significant majority, is that, look, these are not just bandits. They are terrorists. Within the purview of the definition of terrorism, in the Terrorism Amendment Act, Terrorism Prevention Amendment Act of 2013, whereby if for political reasons you wage war or raise arms against the state, then you are classified as a terrorist.
Yes.
If you use the means of intimidation and coercion, to achieve your political ends, then of course you are a terrorist. If you disrupt the lives of other individuals, innocent people, in a manner not prescribed by law, then of course you are classified under that law as a terrorist. Now, DPP in the Federal Capital Territory, the PPP in the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, recently sought an ex parte application before a federal high court in Abuja. and the Federal High Court in Abuja handed out the ruling that indeed within the definition of that Terrorism Act of 2013, bandits are also terrorists, okay? And that was celebrated by persons who had been asking for that kind of resolution. And the Attorney General also said, well, this is the position of the law as of today, and that has not been challenged in the court of law. Okay, so what do I think of Sheyi Gumi's statement? I think Sheyi Gumi is merely protecting himself. It's an act on his part of self-preservation.
I think, you know, for me, one of the things I also think is that probably he's kind of scared now. He's kind of scared that these guys might think he has sold them out. But again, we know ab initio what he was doing. The question is, and that's where we, you know, if you wish to call, you can call the number on the screen. Do you think Sheikh Gumi should be prosecuted? Do you think Sheikh Gumi should be prosecuted for advocating for bandits, for being the mouthpiece of the bandit, for being the lying machine of the bandit? Do you think that Sheikh Gumi should be protected?
Because what the law says clearly also is that if you aid and abet terrorism, then you are liable under the law.
Yes.
So it is interesting to see Sheikh Gumi seeing the court of law because he's not.
All of his.
I mean, he's an educated man.
Yes.
He's a medical doctor. He was in the military, so he knows the security implications. So if the position of the law is this, then of course, you know, as a very clever person, he will quickly say, oh, he will not intervene again.
Indeed.
Because he doesn't want the Nigerian state. He probably thinks the ruling was targeted at him. People in his position may be tempted to think in that direction. But whatever it is, the Nigerian state has a responsibility beyond Gumi and whatever he thinks, and no matter how clever he thinks he is, to deal with the issue of terrorism in Nigeria, of banditry, of criminality, of impunity on steroids in Nigeria, in different parts of Nigeria. That's the responsibility of the state. So Gumi may be a stakeholder who is making a contribution. The bigger responsibility lies with the Nigerian state to make sure that every one of us living in this territory, whether we are foreigners or we are citizens, whether we carry the Nigerian passport or not, that the Nigerian state, on behalf of all of us, exercises the international mandate that the state has a responsibility to protect everyone within its territory. That's the mandate for the Nigerian government.
Very well said, Dr. Abati. Rufai.
So before before we get to Rufai, let's take the first caller here. First caller, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Dr. Chuman Emenike, calling from Texas.
Okay, Emenike, you're welcome. Hello, go ahead.
Thank you. I want to contribute my own quota concerning Gumi's assertion and position on bandits.
Okay.
Without any missing words, I think Sheikh Gumi supposed to expressly face the law, because according to what Dr. Abati has already posited earlier, you cannot probate and abet at the same time. Trying to withdraw himself from relationship with bandit is null and void. I think federal government is supposed to hold him accountable, because he has on many occasions advocated for the bandits. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for that precise contribution. Thank you. So, people, you hear that? Obviously, the last caller is saying that Sheikh Gumi should face the law. Question is, do you agree with the last caller that Sheikh Gumi should face the law? Let's hear your voice. Called in Njenje Media Studio. And this is only a WhatsApp call only. The number to call is +234 708 004 2206. WhatsApp call only. So, you know, I think listening to this, I don't know. Let's before we go ahead, let's hear Rufai out and see what Rufai said.
Forget the rhetorics of Sheikh Gumi when he said, don't call them terrorists,
Yes.
don't call them bandits. We will never forget that.
Exactly.
So any attempt to exonerate himself now is too late already. We'll never forget how he stoked the embers of fear across board. We'll never forget how he was the go-to negotiator to bring back people that were kidnapped. We'll never forget all this he did. How he went into the bush, he had conversations with them, and how this continued. We'll never forget how he compared these bandits, these killers, these terrorists, to Niger Delta militants that we all know what they were fighting for then. And once amnesty was given, they stopped whatever fight they had and they made peace. We saw the oil spill in Njenje. We saw the effect on people. That's what those people were fighting for. These were criminals that were supported by a certain man that was once a captain in the Nigerian army.
And that is, honestly, I think Rufai, is doing a good job in re-emphasizing this, because that must be said, that this guy, as Ruben Abati said, is a medical doctor. To become a medical doctor, guy, this is not something you just do. You have to know your onion. You need to have some level of intellect and perseverance. And this is one man who had it. He joined the Nigerian army, so he understood some fundamental, issues around security. However, it appears as it is, whatever he was fighting for, trying to be a mouthpiece for a certain people, made him and blinded him. I have another caller on the line. Good evening. You are speaking to MaaziEzeoke, and this is Njenje Media TV.
Good evening, MaaziEzeoke, speaking to Chidi from South Africa.
Okay, Chidi, how are you?
Okay. Just on your program, and I'm agreeing with the former caller, the person that finished calling just now. And I'll give you instance quickly. This Sheikh Gumi is the person that said that IPOB destroys government properties, but the bandits only kidnap children. They don't do any bad thing. It's just to kidnap people for money. I mean, when you come to think about it, when you're a child and you are kidnapped at the point of gun, the trauma of it lives with you forever. So for me, if Nigeria is actually a civilized place or nation or country, should I say, Gumi should have been prosecuted long ago by his assertions, all that he has been saying in defense of the bandits. He just call them bandits. What is bandits? What is their nationality? Where do they come from? Do we just call them bandits just to beautify them?
Well, that's
so he deserves
now
to be
by law. Now you're allowed to call them terrorists, because that's what they are. They just cause havoc and terror.
Yeah, of course. So that's what I just said. I'm agreeing with the last caller that this man should be prosecuted, because if I should be dating back to all that he has been saying in his interviews and all that, how he will sit with them, and take pictures and all that, he knows where they take people to when they are kidnapped. Yet he has not been able to help Nigeria to track these people and end.
Well, I think in fairness to him here, I might disagree with your last statement. In fairness to him, you're saying that he has not been able to take Nigeria to where they are. The question should actually be, is Nigeria actually interested in knowing where they are? Because if they were interested in knowing where they are, they would have put him under pressure and compelled him to show them where they are. You see my argument. Thank you very much for
your argument is okay. Just let me say something before I go. Because he said something regarding Nigeria being interested and forcing him to. If Nigeria is not interested in knowing where those people are, that means Nigeria are part of the trouble that people are facing.
Of course. I mean, it's It's just like saying that the woman is pregnant. You're looking at the tummy. That's what it is.
Yeah, so it's a simple logic. If Nigeria is not interested in knowing where they are and dealing with them, then they are they are even the problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your call. So, people, you see, 2 people so far called, and they are all agreeing that Sheikh Gumi should be investigated.
We will never forget how this same Sheikh Gumi tried to sow discord in the Nigerian army. We remember the case of Christian and Muslim soldiers. Yeah. So what is he saying now? Do they think we forget so much in this country? No, we don't have amnesia. Anybody that has been found to be part of this must face the full wrath of the law. We'll never forget that he aided and abetted and emboldened these terrorists. Let's not forget that. We'll never forget. He came here on a rise. And I remember we put a question to him then. Then where does your allegiance lie?
Yes, you did ask that question.
We put a question to him. Then where does your allegiance lie? If you support these people, it still goes back to the fact that, you see, when we can't tell ourselves the truth in a country, when we all deceive ourselves and we can't collectively call out evil, and like I said yesterday, like President Eisenhower said, when we live in a country where people value privilege over purpose, we can't see evil and call it out collectively, but because it slants and favors our side, then we have lost it. The man in us died.
Yes,
all right,
the man in us
We'll take
died.
another story.
So again, I've got another caller here. Good evening. You are speaking to MaaziEzeoke. Hello, caller on the line. You are speaking to MaaziEzeoke. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good evening.
Go ahead. Who are you? What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Alexander.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from France.
Okay, Alexander, go ahead. What's your contribution?
I just want to give just a short contribution. Remember that this Gumi went to bush and snapped a picture with all those bandits and kidnappers one certain time in the bush. So whatever their government are talking about, they know everything about Gumi is doing. But only one thing I want to say is that this matter is not going anywhere because government cannot go and produce Gumi, but they know they are not themselves. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much for making it snappy. Thank you. So he says that Gumi has been taking pictures with the bandits, no meaning he knows where they are, and the government are also, if they really, really want to do their job, they should be able to find him. I have another caller on the line. Good evening, caller. Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, hello. Good evening, caller. Where are you calling from?
Good evening, Maz. This is Mike. I'm calling from Dublin.
Okay, Mike.
MK Wonder. My contribution to this is simple. If he walk like a dog, he quack like a dog, he's a dog. There is something that doesn't add up with this whole thing. Why now? Why the sudden disassociation suddenly pop up?
Yeah, because it's very simple. Because the court, the court has now said, yes, the bandits are terrorists. So knowing the tag and knowing the consequences of what it means to be aiding and abetting terrorists and being a spokesperson, being the lying machine of the bandits, or rather the newfound terrorists, he'd be obviously understanding the consequences. That's why he is now making the U-turn. It's that simple.
But let's dissect from the beginning.
Okay.
This guy, during Goodluck Jonathan, was declared wanted. He suddenly reappeared during Buhari administration. He became the mouthpiece, sort of a peacemaker, the contact line, the negotiator for the kidnappers. And I remember him saying this clearly, that the kidnappers or the bandits or whatever he calls them then are here to stay. They are part of the country.
So that is why I'm saying, if he walk like a dog, a quack like a dog, is a dog. There may be something coming down the line. We don't know yet. There may be something he has been privy to, which we haven't known, that made him to suddenly try to draw a line on the sand. That is my own suspicion of this whole thing.
But understand, hold on, understand, for you to, I mean, in fairness to him, I think he got up to, was it a colonel in the, I can't remember, either a colonel or something lower than that. But, you know, it's a medical doctor. He's not really, forget that he has a tattered looking beard, unkept and all the rest. He's not an imbecile, so to say.
I know that.
So he's clued on. He knows exactly what is coming, and he knows exactly what he's doing.
We just landed the same place. I'm saying, if he's walking like a dog, it's a dog. There must be something they have told him coming down the line. He's running from something. He's just trying to wash his hand. After all, I did say I'm not part of them anymore. So whatever happens from now onwards has nothing.
Now, okay, let me ask this question. Do you think, by the virtue of the U-turn he has done, that his life might be at risk by those he has once represented?
My suspicion is this. I have no way to prove it, but this is my own just simple hunch. He may be seeing down the line that he may be the sacrificing lamb. Because if worse comes to worse, the Buhari administration can throw him under the United States watch list. Remember that this guy ran away from the Middle East when they wanted to capture him.
No, he was no. He was actually imprisoned, I think, in the UAE. Eventually released. I don't even know the details of his release, but I know that
miraculously returned back to Africa.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying.
So he has been a person of interest, actually, internationally.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because if he's a medical, somebody of an interest, to throw him into the water will be easier for the federal government. Oh, see, we are fighting the terror. One of them under suspicion, we have thrown him in. So that's what I'm thinking. Maybe he must be debriefed on something coming down the line. So to make himself look clean and become a victim, he first of all do the 360 and wash his hand clear.
The box reaching.
Whatever we want to do.
I see your point. You know, obviously, your part of the deal is like every other person. You want him prosecuted, right?
Yes.
Thank you very much for your contribution, Wanda. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So again, 4 people, 4 and the same. You know, when they say that when a child is pointing finger somewhere, if the mother is not there, that means the father is there. It means that majority of the people on this platform are agreeing to the fact that Sheikh Gumi should be prosecuted. Now, once more, thank you for joining us here. I am still MaaziEzeoke, and this is the Street Parliament. The Street Parliament, sadly, yesterday I couldn't have the Friday hangout where we hang out and, you know, with a bottle of something. It could be water. It could be, you know, it could be something. Some of you who love fermented kunu will say it could be fermented kunu, you know, it could be anything. So the Street Parliament is what we do on Saturdays. And we are discussing Gumi denouncing bandits. He's no longer a spokesperson for bandits. And we asked the question, should Sheikh Gumi be prosecuted for standing with bandits and for defending bandits who are now known as terrorists by their real name? Again, at the beginning I said, we have this incident that happened, I believe, on Monday in Sokoto, where over 40 people or fellow citizens in Sokoto were roasted alive by these bandit terrorists, as the case may be, and rather than your president who beat his chest that the people of Northwest and the people of Sokoto gave him 97% in the electoral time, but when it comes in times of conflict, what he does, like every other, I don't even say leader, but are they what calling leaders or rulers? Like every other ruler, basically in Nigeria, they go awoe, they run away when you need them most, when you need to go console the people, when you need to show some level of empathy. They all do what? They all run away. On the other hand, we have a man who, in the person of Sheikh Gumi, who is now running away from the tag he associated himself with.
Indicate that police officers and civil servants
in
the federal government's ministries and agencies have been advised to spend their salaries for the month of November wisely, because their salaries for the month of December may not be processed until January 2022. In the memo circulating on social media, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, on December 3rd, informed all departments and commissioners of police across the country of the delay in their November salaries. Well, according to the FMC's head of finance and accounts, the delay is due to the recurrent trends of shortfall in budgetary allocations. Well, in the meantime, policemen from different formations and commands across the country have raised the alarm over the non-payment of their November salaries, insisting that the development has compounded their suffering. Well,
so official, it is official now. Please, so let me tell you, let me give you a disclaimer. If you're traveling to the east, if you're traveling starting next week, whenever you see a police officer, please don't argue. They are very unlikely to receive their salary. Make sure you have 100 naira note. I'm begging you just for your life. That is, if you're watching me from the diaspora and you're flying into Nigeria next week, I'll tell you this. How to stay alive, 101. Have some change in your account. Police, according to this report, are not going to receive their salary, December salary, till January, sometime in January, if at all. Why? The government is broke. The government is broke. You get it? You get it?
What's the full meaning of CV?
CV is crazy, madness now.
Okay, the full meaning of CV.
CV.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, CV is an abbreviation. What's the complete word?
C.
Yeah.
V.
Yeah.
Certificate. You get it?
Okay.
If you don't get it, forget about it.
You see, this December, you understand what it means? What it means that police is your friend. You get it? Police, this Christmas will be your friend because the government is not paying them this Christmas. Again, I tell you, please, I want to see you in January. To stay alive, make sure you have change. Don't ask me what you're going to do with the change. It means this Christmas, 2021, you and I will be the ones to pay police salary. Before, they were doing what they were doing when they were receiving salary. Now, it is official. They are not going to receive salary. Please do not play with your life. That's my candidate.
In another development, a kidnapper's den was discovered behind a police checkpoint along Auchi-Abuja Expressway by travelers accessing the route last week. In a video that has now gone viral, bullets, lighters, and tear gas canisters were found in the building that was believed to have been housed by an insane man. Well, let's take a look before.
Now, this story in Auchi, I think we posted the full video sometime last week, but this story is something else. Imagine a police checkpoint where police will come every day, they will mount there. When the sun starts being too much, if they want to eat, they just look back like this, go into the same abandoned property. Abandoned property. That's where they keep their cash. That's where they do everything. The same place, is a kidnapper's den. The question is, do you think, you watching me now, do you for 1 second think that the police is not aware that that place is a kidnapper's then.
We'll come back for a discussion on both stories.
This is the 2nd of December 2021, and something happened.
Now, this is the building, right? And in front of that building, because there is this road, third road there, in front of that is where the police checkpoint is. And the police, when the sun gets too much, they go inside this place to cool off. So, and this same place is where kidnappers are being kept, in Auchi. Do you now think that the police is not aware of the business going on there? Before I go on with this, people, please, if you're joining me for the first time, if you're seeing my face for the first time, kindly please like this video. I'm begging us, just click the like button. YouTube is suppressing viewership. The only way we can bypass it, if you're watching me on Facebook, if you're watching me on YouTube, just click the like button. Make it turn green or blue, whichever color. At least there is something must make it turn something. Again, this is a street parliament where you hear your opinion. We'll finish this story. We also want to know what you think about this story. Let's
Around Auchi Abuja Expressway, a bus load of passengers were kidnapped, and the driver was also kidnapped. And it was said that
see the bus in question. See that L300 white color there. All the passengers in that bus kidnapped, vamoosed, just like that. This is the road where the police normally is.
at this particular place that the thing happened, there's always a checkpoint here, mounted by policemen, where this thing happened. And behind there is a house. And it was also said that a madman lives here. But can you believe we found this here? We found this here where the kidnapping happened. Where in the house where they said the madman lives. This is what we found here. This is what we found here. These are both expanded cells and I think this is a tear gas canister. This is the house. This is where they camp. This is where they hide people. This is where they hide their kidnapped victims. And there's a checkpoint right in front of this house.
Yes, ma'am.
There's a checkpoint right in front of this house where all this is happening.
Yes, ma'am.
Right where there is supposed to be security men, law enforcement agencies. This is happening. Would they say they didn't see, they were not here when this happened? And this is not the first time, according to people here, this is not the first time this is happening right in this very place.
I mean, this is what you get when you don't pay policemen salaries. I mean, this man is accusing the policemen that were stationed in that location of, you know, being complicit in the kidnap that just happened there. I believe this happened on December 2nd. It is quite appalling what really is going on, Tundu Abiola.
It's really scary. You have people who are unpaid and they're armed, they're angry. It's a recipe for disaster, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And I think that memo is completely unconscionable. We really need to be beyond this point now. Yeah. There is no reason, no justification. We have labor laws in this country. And this goes back to the EndSARS protests and what they were trying to achieve with those 5 for 5 demands that were completely overshadowed by the lunacy that happened in the aftermath of the protests and the claims by some people that, oh, it was about regime change. It was not about regime change. It was about police brutality and addressing the root causes of police brutality, which include police welfare. And that memo, how do you write to people that your work, your labor is going to go unpaid? I mean, it's a slap in the face. And on the other hand, you have President Muhammadu Buhari last week at the National Summit, I believe it was the 3rd National Summit last week, talking about diminishing corruption in the public sector, talking about ghost workers. So there are people padding the wage bill, siphoning money from the Nigerian government for ghost workers, and on the other hand, people who are actually doing the work and not getting.
You know, the sad thing is, 6 years on, we still have this reoccurring nonsense called ghost workership. In the police, you hear they put in so many names on this. And I say one thing, the government is accomplice. The government is part of the problem. You know why? Very simple. Ghost worker collects not cash. Money is being paid into certain account. People, if we want to stop it, we can stop it today, not tomorrow. It's very simple. Money comes into your account. You receive that money. Ghost worker. 15 years imprisonment. No questions asked. It will stop. Because how can you tell me that you will do your what they call the verification exercise? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 persons accounts go, money is going into one person's account. The person will be maybe in a month receiving like 15, 20 million because he collects this money and he goes year on year on year on year on. What we hear, oh, we have stopped 56,000 ghost workers. We have stopped them. What I want to hear is that I have jailed 56,000 ghost workers and it will stop. But again, is the government interested? No, they are not interested. The same people that told us, oh, generator, to generate light is an aggregation of generators. When you aggregate it, it goes sweet for mouth. Nonsense. When you aggregate it, the PDP government is not doing well. All we need to do, within 6 months, Nigerians will have light. 6 years later, 6 years later, 6 freaking years later. Before the former government left, we were generating 7,000 megawatts. Now, what can we generate? Less than 4,000. 6 years later, we come to fight corruption. Oh, anybody who's telling us anything about petrol is a scam. But what are we doing? Aren't we paying the petrol? Aren't we paying the petrol? You get it now? You get it?
You get it? Okay. If you don't get it, forget about it.
You get it? You're getting it to tell you that the government is nothing but a scam. But what can you, in fact, sometimes I feel like if we can get powers, supernatural powers, to actually deal with them.
I have so many power. I have a bit of shaker. I have never touched those ones. I have the boost kabaj. Yes. I have ganduka gandusa. Mbeg Iwalonios.
Please, Odumeja, we need some of these powers because we need to start cutting like onions. We need to be Benham Madana, Benham Madekrekre, because this is getting out of hand. People can no longer comfortably travel on the road. You fear herdsmen, you fear kidnappers, you fear police. And someone here is saying, what of civil servants? What if they don't have money? Well, you choose for you. You choose for yourself. What is it that you want? Do you want to stay alive? I understand you're a civil servant, but it's sad to even say these things because I don't know. It's about your life. Sometimes it feels like the things you watch in the TV that happens in Argentina or Brazil. People just, your life matters now. Do you know what it means? If you ever lived in the same society, see that one person just walking on the street fall. You see how everywhere changes. Everybody stands still, helping that individual, for that individual to recover, or for ambulance to come. But here we live in a nation where anything happens, everybody just goes their way. You're not getting help from your fellow citizens. You're not getting help from government. Government is actually the one abusing you day and night. By January, we will start buying petrol, 304 naira, isn't it? Yet these are same people that told us that they were going to bring petrol from whatever number to, that they were going to reduce it. Remember when the former minister of petroleum from River State, what's his name? Tom David West. Remember when he was alive? He was the one talking, we will refine petrol. We would, in 2014-15, it was everywhere in channels. We will sell petrol for 45 naira. Some of us, those Momo, we were just basically 70-year-old people. Everybody was just shouting rubbish. Everybody became a mathematician. Tunde Bakari, they all started subsidy-made simple, what he termed SMS, turned his pulpit into a jargon, rambling place. 70.
How many times would they tell you before you know that Nigeria is not for you?
Tell them. How many times would they tell you? How many times would they tell you? They tear gas you.
How many times would they tell you before you know that Nigeria is not for you? Ah! Now they never leave you. They have left you behind. Photo, not be juju be that.
Wallahi, na juju they do us, because when they do us this juju, we do like this. That's how the juju was doing us. We they do like this because we weren't seeing
economic is doing like this. It's doing like this. It's blinking.
You see, it's blinking, it's shaking. It's blinking, it's shaking. When this man was saying our economic is doing like this, I never understood it until the time that we are no longer able to.
Our economic is doing like this. It's doing like this. It's blinking, shaking, blinking, shaking. So
you see, our economy is blinking, shaking. It's blinking and it's shaking. What do you do? In fact, Nigeria is in the past pathetical. That's what Nigeria is finished. It's in the past pathetical.
You will be a past participant. Yeah. Hey! Ebu one day we go me. Say yesterday you are a past. So very soon you shall be past. Party. One day, say tickle.
It's finished now. It's tickle because we are in the past pathetical. That's what it is. It's sad. It's sad. And sometimes why someone doesn't come often online, because it just makes for your mental health. It makes you sick. It could not see these things. Some of the things that are very easy to fix. Some of the things that are very easy across all strata. You see them, everyone just going nuts. I don't blame Wike, he says. Those governing us. If you didn't dare.
If you don't know what to do with your head, you don't know what to do with your head. If you didn't dare, you didn't dare. You didn't dare.
See? If you don't know what to do with this. Now, we have to endure. It's almost coming to an end. So I would say endure 18 months, 17 months more. We'll see. We'll see. But indeed, heartbreaking.
Paid. This system is really so bad. And then let's not forget IPIS. Wasn't IPIS supposed to help out with things like this?
Yes, they are. Actually,
we must never go back to those days. I recall a few years ago, I believe it was Oshun, Imo, there were a few states that did not pay civil servants for 8 months, 10 months. How are people supposed to survive?
You did talk of Oshun. My own neck of wood, the next to my state of Abia State, has not paid medical doctors. They accused him, Abia State. Medical doctors, they have not been paid for 30-something months. 30-something. Do you know, be that? What level of manner of wickedness is that? And how can people in good conscience, allow such madness to continue? Let me find the article quickly. Let me find the article, because this is I got to sorry, Abia States. Let me find the article quickly, just pardon me, because I want to quote exactly what is happening here. And it is, whenever I look at this and I say, how can people have conscience? How can you just be so wicked that you couldn't even pay people's salary? Isn't that something that is I don't know. Okay, look at it here. Yeah. Abia State. Now read this. Let me read this for us. Right? Let me see if I can copy it and show it on the screen so that many of you, I don't want to use any other place. I want to use the Southeast, because we cannot only be talking about others. Yeah. So let's say that is Nigerian Medical Council is the one that put this up. And what do I expect? I expect the governors to come out and I ask them to debunk it. And once they debunk it, they think we're all idiots. They think we all just, that's it. Look at it here, people, right? I hope you can see my screen now. Look at it here, people. See? Abia State owes doctors up to 23 months' salary. Owes medical doctors. I can even send the link on the chat. You can read for yourself. Look at it. And these are people who call, say, the Nigerian Medical Association on Thursday, that's 2 days ago, urged 3 states to pay up doctors' salaries and allowances. It said Abia has not paid doctors for up to 23 months. Up to 23 months. Nigerian Medical Association President Professor Innocent Oja spoke in Abuja during the briefing on the outcome of its National Executive Council meeting in Sokoto. Njenje Media reports. He said the NEC expressed its disappointment with the failure of Abia, Ondo, and the Ekiti State to pay salaries in full and other allowances of doctors and health workers up to 23 months in Abia and down to 4 months in Ekiti State. Okay, you see it? 4 months of 23 months. 23 months. Somebody has been going to work. Somebody has children. Somebody has responsibilities. And you want a man who is a medical doctor to treat you right, to make you well, when you haven't paid him for 23 months. Because it's not going to work. You watching me now, let's say you are in Europe, in America. How would you feel? The company you work for hasn't paid you for 1 month. The day people miss, let's say there is a payroll issue, people miss their payment by 6 hours. Many people, many staffs already has gone into almost bankruptcy because their mortgages will begin to fail, the electricity bill will begin to fail, whatever. That's how the system is. It's per hourly basis. But here in Nigeria, and we are discussing it. We are discussing it. There is no outrage. 23 freaking months, 2-3 months. Someone has not received salary.
Find the words.
Yeah, some police are saying they can't go to work.
Officers. Yes.
How?
They're going to take it out on the citizens that they're meant to protect. This is why you have kidnapping done.
Yes.
This is why you're going to have people getting pulled over on the streets willy-nilly this whole month. I'm sorry, the rest of us, we should brace ourselves. This is a disaster.
Absolutely. Rufai, your comment on the story, please.
Every day we keep making monsters. But you see, I still believe in this country, that things can be better. But sometimes, when I say I believe in the country, and people say, Rufai, you are mad. It's things like this that make them say you are mad. How can, in a country that have laws, police officers are treated this way? How can?
Now, imagine in the UK, imagine your local constable, imagine your metropolitan police, imagine imagine NYPD or whatever it's called. Imagine your local county sheriff hasn't been paid in 1 month. He will be kicking, he will be kicking, but here you have police officers getting into Christmas and you just have a flimsy letter saying, we are not sure you're going to get your salary until January because someone somewhere somehow probably have done something that he or she ought not to. And you want protection. Someone you haven't paid. You want him to give his best. You want him to give his life for you. In the squashing sun, you see a human being standing with shoes bended like mekuturu. Shoes bended in that way. And you think that individual will be happy. How would that individual be happy? How? Tell me. That's what I say. I'm not kidding, honestly. For your safety, make sure if a bad 50 naira, put in your a bad, it can save your life. a body can save your life. I'm not encouraging that. But again, it has come to a situation where people, your life matters. Your family you're going to see matters. It is a crime scene. Uchenna M, I hope you're back from Nigeria. Nigeria is a crime scene. Honestly. Uchenna, you might if you want, you can call in and tell us your experience in the last couple of weeks that you were in Anambra State. Many of us are staying away because it's just a pure madness. Pure madness. Feel sick, honestly.
Christmas period. Salaries not being paid. They're
Christmas period.
Christmas period. They have families. Salaries not being paid.
This
and now
unacceptable.
you are seeing a kidnappers then close to a police checkpoint. I mean, how would you?
Of course, they do. You know what they do? They do what we call abateke. That's all. That's what they do. That's why you see a kid. Jesus Christ. In front of a police checkpoint that is almost equivalent to like a police station. Is kidnappers then. So many bullets in there. Who kept them? Is it is the madman in there? Is he really mad? You know, sometimes that you hear these stories in Nigeria and they dies down. Nobody follows them up. Nobody asks questions. You also sometimes want to ask questions. You meet brick wall. I'm like, man, why Nigeria did do us like
So both. You see, it goes back to this systemic failure. And I keep saying something. Until we start to tell ourselves the truth in this country, we will not move forward. Because it's obvious we like to be lied to. This is the only country where I see lies thrive. And when you tell people the truth, they say, no, nothing wrong with that. People can get big fat salaries. They can pad budget. They can steal millions of naira. They can issue, I hear, 42 billion to renovate the roof in National Assembly. I hear there's corruption going on as regards that now.
But, Rufai, hold on. If I ask our lying machine now, if that is true, he would even tell us.
When my 7-year-old grandson called me and said, Grandpa, tell me the truth. Why did they call you Liar Mohammed?
I did not call him Liar Mohammed, but again, what I'm just saying is that if we ask him now, he might tell us that what Rufai is saying is a lie.
They can do all sorts, but the basic people cannot be paid.
Unfair.
And this will only continue because this is the kind of country we've made for ourselves.
Dr. Abati, your comment.
Well, whether it's Christmas or January or any other month of the year, the basic principle is that a laborer deserves his wages.
Simple.
In any part of Nigeria, whether federal or state or local government, if you don't pay workers when it is due, then of course you are creating problems for the system. Because look, in the two memos that have been reported, the one from Federal Medical Center, Kefi, and also the one purportedly issued on December 3 by the Inspector General of Police, the excuses given in those two memos, one is attached to the circular, one is attached to the signal to Nigerian policemen. The excuses are unacceptable. Shortfall in allocations, the inefficiency of IPs in the office of the Accountant General, and then you are saying that to people who are expecting their salaries, and you are telling them that they should wait till January. In fact, in the case of the FMC, the head of finance and accounts even took it upon himself to be advising workers what they should do with their salary and how they should be careful how they spend, because they will not get money until January.
Yes.
So it's senseless. That's not the international standard. It just shows how crazy.
No, please, sorry, Abati. If you're making any statements, don't bring international standard with Nigeria in one sentence, because we are not even up to West African standard. Talk less of African standard before we talk about international standard. So don't even...
processes in Nigeria have become. Now, they called out the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, IP's department, where we should not take that at its face value. I think that the Office of the Accountant General has a responsibility to come forward and either confirm this story that people will not be paid their salaries or not.
Perfect.
I raise that because we also hear stories that sometimes these monies are disbursed and some big men in some of these agencies will sit on the money for 30 days to collect interest.
Can you imagine?
That is why an investigation is important so that the heads of some of these agencies, are not just promoting.
Listen, a nation paying oil subsidy more than they can ever use. Even when they said the previous government was stealing, and they came to this one, it appears the stealing went to the gym, now has muscles, and is doing very, very heavy lifting. A nation where we can hear something like this, people will take salaries and lend it to commercial banks just to hold it for 30 days. For them, in their mind, they are not stealing, because if they have taken like $500 million, this $500 million or 1 billion, 2 billion, they can only take the interest, maybe 20 million interest, and they walk away. Now, what they forget is that in that 1 month that you've held it for you to get extra money, you have destroyed lives. People have died. Parents might have lost child, their children. Some must have lost loved ones by the virtue of the fact that maybe someone was sick and they needed 1,000 naira or 800 naira malaria drug. We're not saying it is not fair, and it is very, very unfair to owe anyone, be you police officer, be you a civil servant. It is very, very unfair. Imagine those of you who depend on a weekly wage. At the end, on a Friday that you're supposed to get your pay doesn't come. And your manager told you, oh, sorry, we don't have money to pay you, but they expect you to come back on Monday. How are you going to buy your petrol? How are you going to get your bus pass to get in? Many of you in the United Kingdom, how are you going to get your Oyster card if you're not paid in that week? And maybe you find, okay, let's say something happened. You borrowed money and you go back the next week, and the same story. And you want sanity to remain. You want police. I mean, that's the recipe for disaster, unless we're all idiots. You want sanity to remain, a police officer with AK-47, no salary, and you want him to be friendly? Oh, police is your friend. You must be smoking something greater than we, because that does not happen. An angry man, a hungry man, is an angry man. A pocketless man is next to nothing but a kidnapper. Because you're looking there, he sees you, you wear your chain, you're looking fresh. You tell him, oh man, yeah, man, I'm coming back from America now. Yeah. Don't you know that only that your Nike canvas is looking at is making him upset, and he can shoot you at any time? Then what does he do? He kidnaps you, takes you into the bush, bring your belly yourself with 200,000. Never let that argument get to that point, irrespective of where you're coming from. Be nice, but when it gets to certain level, it means if you have a driver, don't get into any argument, 100 naira then, and go your way. What we say in Igbo, vum, ka statement. That's my view. That's my view. That's my
corruption. The other issue is that we understand that some other security agencies are paid salaries. Okay, but that does not certainly include civil defense. So you add to police, you add civil defense to it. If there are other agencies where they are being told to wait till January or maybe February, then they should raise concerns about it. And I hope that government officials, political appointees, public servants will also not be paid their salary.
I pray so.
At Christmas.
Yes. So.
Because if policemen will not get their salaries,
even
then they too should not get. However, this should not be a justification for accidental discharge at police points across the country. This should not become a justification for extortion.
But Abati, but sorry here, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. When someone is angry at the system, anything that has any sign of progress is irritating. And that's what we have. anything that has any sign of progress. It's irritating, and that's what we have. I don't know how else. I mean, this is very simple. Honestly, we are in for a big and
because I've been hearing that if you don't pay policemen, then we should expect more police killings, brutality this Christmas, or extortion. No, I don't think that Nigerians should be put in a situation whereby we are being told policemen have not been paid and we have to put small money on our in our pockets so that as you move around during youth time, we have to buy our freedom.
That is one when I see the blow grammar, but I never understand. Like, and they tell them that wait they have they study the blow grammar. Listen, you better they give you warning. Better hold some change, or you go to bail yourself. Each bus stop, you make you bail yourself. They no pay police. They no pay police. They no gree pay police. If you no bail yourself, or you go hear something. And when you reach to station, you get it.
You get it? Okay. If you don't get it, forget about it.
So please don't forget about it. I want you to get it now. So by next week, because what I'm telling you will start next week. Many people, the children will start closing school next week. Some of you will be flying in, for those of you who are allowed to fly in, and you will go. But when you are doing that, please get it and stay alive. Now somebody will stay alive, they lay complain. No, I don't talk my own finish.
Shows how badly the state has failed. And that's unacceptable in any civilized community.
All right then.
No, how can you talk Nigeria finish? You add civilization to it. You just destroyed all the things you basically said. There is nothing like civility here. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Now, the final topic here, people, is that the United Kingdom has red-listed Nigeria, saying many of you in the United Kingdom, Ireland, who are planning to fly into Nigeria, you're not going to come. Why? Because of Omicron. You see, one thing that is very worrying is, the continent that actually told the world that this exists is now being punished. And the one thing that worries most people is many people who are flying are already, if not all, they are double jabbed, meaning they have their first vaccine, second vaccine. Now you want them when they travel and when they come back, you now lock them down in a hotel room and feed them nonsense, where they will still have to pay almost £2,300. £2,300. This is not your flight money, So for many of you, £2,300 times whatever money is now is about 1.725 million for one person, right? For one person, you come back to your country, even if you're dual citizenship, even if you're whatever, you come back, you pay such money. I mean, that is crazy. Why? 2007, who buys, unless you're buying business class, you buy 1.725 million. That's madness. Yet. But, when we knock Nigeria, we knock them. But when they do something meaningful, we also have to say it. There is something that happened that really, for the first time, I said it, the Captain Nuhu, who is the NCC chairman, I owe him one bottle of whatever he's drinking, be it kunu, I'll buy it for him, because that is what Nigerians demand that they do. Why am I saying this on now? This is the back to the story. Nigeria had some issues with United Arab Emirates for a while. Eventually, it was resolved recently. Nigeria granted United Arab Emirates daily flight, every single day, they will come into Nigeria. Now, what you do in such instances is what they call reciprocity. That means you reciprocate to certain gestures on international scene. Now, the story gets interesting here. A piece, the one by Alan Onyema, who has the license in Nigeria and in United Arab Emirates to fly into Jeddah. United Arab Emirates, rather than reciprocate to Nigeria, said no, they can only squeeze one slot for him for 1 week. Now, how do you feel about someone giving you what you actually requested? Now, for you to reciprocate, you give them one in return. And the following happened. Let me share this with us, and I will explain further. So the following here happened. I hope you can see that on my screen. Now, let me quickly read that for us. And this is obviously from the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. This letter was written on the 10th, that was yesterday. And for the first time, I really, I must say, felt happy for the first time. Because this is what people demand. This is what governance is all about. It says, following the lifting of the ban on Emirates Airline passengers flights to Nigeria by the government, the UAE-based airline applied to Federal Ministry of Aviation for approval of its winter flight schedule. The requested schedule consists of 21 weekly passenger flights, frequencies to Nigeria comprising of 2 daily flights to Murtala Mohammed Airport, Lagos, and 1 daily flight to Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. Did you get that? 2 times they'll fly into Lagos. Once they'll fly into Abuja. 3 flights a day. 3. It continues in the second paragraph. The Honorable Minister of Aviation graciously approved the winter schedule as requested. No removal without any hindrance or arrival slot requirement in the spirit and intent of bilateral air services agreement, that is the BASA, between Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates. It gets interesting from this point here. Now, recall, Air Peace Airlines, the one that went to South Africa to bring people free of charge when the xenophobic attack happened. The only Nigerian airline that operates passenger flights to Sharjah International Airport in United Arab Emirates. They requested for 3 weekly passenger flights to 3, not 5. 3 weekly, not 3 daily. Recall, they have 3 daily. APIS is requesting 3 per week. And it says, and was granted only 1 weekly passenger flight frequency. They were granted only 1 out of 3. The Director General of the Civil Aviation Authority, GCAA, attributed this action due non-availability of arrival slot at Sharjah International Airport. Now, they now said, in trying to explain to Nigeria what happened actually, it says, bilateral air service agreements, BASA, between countries are based on principle of reciprocity for transparency and fairness to both sides. While Nigeria authorities approved the request of Emirates Airlines, UAE authority acted in total disregard of the terms and provision of BASA between the 2 countries by approving 1 week deal. Now, the rest is history, but here is what made me say I am happy for the first time. He says, the Honorable Minister of Aviation here, I highlight that for us to read. The Honorable Minister of Aviation decided to apply the principle of reciprocity and withdraw, you see that, withdraw the withdraw the approval of the winter schedule given to Emirates Airline and instead approved one weekly flight frequency, Abuja, on Thursday, blah, 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 blah. I say, now we are talking. You choke me, I close your eye. If you are not a banana republic and you want nations to respect you, you see, when UK banned, put Nigeria on the red list, you know, one thing I just said, on this rare occasion that you miss General Sani Abacha, not that he was a good man, no, but there are things you take in a leader. I said, maybe these leaders we have now shouldn't, you know, are not going to take the right necessary action for Nigerians, because if they do with England, they might not come back again for their medical tourism. But again, who cares? I said it. What are they going to do? But that's the truth. So in this case, Nigeria, for the first time, did the right thing. I gave you 5. I gave you 3 a day. I'm requesting only 3 a week. You gave me 1 a week. Wallahi, the thing they sweet me. I say, the guy Nuhu, what was his name again? I owe you, even if Captain Musa Nuhu, if you drink Ompa, I owe you 1 carton. If you drink Frada, no, 1 carton. If you drink Kukunu, if you drink Zobo, whatever it is, 12 pieces, 1 carton. That's what you should be doing. That's how people do their job. You took me, I bulala you. Because that's actually how it ought to. Now come down to the United Kingdom. They say you are not going to fly. For me, tomorrow morning, British Airways shouldn't be flying into Nigeria. It's as simple as that. There is no 2 ways about it. No but, no if. Why would you subject people to fly in from Nigeria to pay 1.27 million? And they have to pay it before they leave Nigeria. Your country not good. But because you have messed your own country, you have allowed terrorists, bandits, and whatever you have to overrun people, take over the places. That's why everyone is running away. Your president gets coffee, goes into his hospital in London, yet you have an Asoro clinic in Abuja, ill-equipped, billions budgeted every year, yet you leave them and run away. Even the one that is coming to say he's going to rule you, once he gets sick, he runs the same rundown. Rundown, that's where they run. He goes there, and everybody is trumping, he's the next, this and this. He governs certain states. Yet, after 8 years, he could not build a befitting hospital that whenever he wants to, he can go there for. And the one governing you, the Oga Patapata of them all, the one in the Asa in the Rock, in Castina. And I think sometimes honestly, I say in 2023, where is he going to retire to? Is it the Castina that is jagajagad already? I said, these children will come and knock at his door one day, because it appears the man is sleeping. The thing is getting worse. North, south, east, west, everywhere is fire on the mountain. But again, what can you do? Mr. Nuhu, anyone will see this video pass on to you, I owe you 1 carton of anything where you did drink, but not 1 carton of crystal, because that one, we know they earn any money to buy you that. But at least you guys, for the first time, it must be said. If you do right, we say it. If you do wrong, as you people do, because that appears to be your main job, keep doing wrong. We'll keep knocking you people. We're going to do our hand like this. Then give on to give you some. There's a way you do, go enter, but you could just do on like Shamfa. That one they pay and pass. For this one, I say we are happiness more. Honestly, we are indeed happiness more, because that is what you're supposed to do. We're happiness.
All right. Have you voted?
I'm voted, yeah.
Okay,
I'm happiness, I'm voted, yeah.
Tell me your feeling after voting today.
Yeah, after voting, I'm feeling okay. What I want, I get it on the result. I'm getting the party I want is the one going on. Thank you for that.
What are you expecting from these people you voted?
I'm voted. They can do what you want.
Stop. This one, he's not going to do what he wants. We only happiness more because he did the right thing. So no praise singing here. He did the right thing. This is the basic thing he ought to have done. And we say he's done well. So whatever he drinks, that will be provided for him. Because that is it. So what we expect is next week. You've dealt with UAE. If I listen, for some weird reason, I like what they've been doing to UAE. Yeah? You do us, we do you. It's as simple as that. Now, United Kingdom, Virgin is still flying in. British Airways is still flying in. Other ones are still flying in. Recall, Airpeace in 2017, Airpeace got the license to fly United States of America, to fly to India, to fly to United Kingdom. But United Kingdom hasn't given Airpeace the right to fly into United Kingdom. And many people have argued, even if they want, let them go to Stansted, even if it's Luton, even if it's Gatwick, it mustn't be Heathrow. It's better for some people who want to probably fly London, Enugu, to go to, at least you're not dealing with any bandit on your way. If you're driving from London to Luton or Gatwick or anywhere, it's better to drive 2-3 hours. Even if he wants to go to Bristol, even if it's Newcastle, who cares? But these things are not done. And all we hear is they put you on red list. Yet we should be the ones actually putting them on red list. So people, on that note, I will say thank you very much for joining my street parliament. And hopefully tomorrow I will make up my Friday hangout that I missed. Thank you once more. Let me go and find something. Cool myself, me where they talk. I need to drink something. Let me go and drink my tummy. On that note, I say good night, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye.